Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me, hopefully? Yes. So hi, everyone. Sorry for the delay. Super. Very sorry for the delay, some technical difficulties. So thank you so much for joining us at the Invest Quebec International webinar. Good morning to all of you that are, good morning, everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulties. And good morning for those that are in the United States. Good afternoon for those of you that are in Europe. And a warm welcome and good evening for those of you that have joined from Asia. Over the next hour, well, 45 minutes about, it's supposed to be an hour, we hope to give you a taste of some of the specifics that make Quebec one of the best places in the world to craft great games. I'm Veronica Glémaud. I work for Invest Quebec, which is Quebec's economic development agency. We're focused on working with international companies that wish to set up in Quebec. And I'm based in the Montreal headquarters. And I have many of my colleagues that are based throughout the world that are here on the call with us and eager to virtually meet with you eventually. Today, I'm also joined by a couple of my partners in crime. So we have Mélissa Prophète that is here, that is the head of fiscal incentives in Invest Quebec. There's also Julien Lassonde that is head of incentives at PwC. There's Julien from the talent attraction team at Quebec International, and Caroline Boucher, who is the head of the immigration team at Montreal International. So to kick off things, I wanted to cover a few key points of what makes Quebec such a great destination for gaming, and what has made of us one of the world's top hubs. So I gave you a brief overview of Invest Quebec. Like I mentioned, we have colleagues all over the world. We have 12 offices abroad. And just a few numbers on what our cluster really represents in Quebec. So about over a third of Canadian studios in Canada are based in Quebec. We have over 200 studios, and we regroup over 46% of the job market for that industry in Canada. And we currently have about 13,000 direct jobs, over maybe a bit more with indirect jobs. And we've been home to quite a few international blockbusters. So obviously Assassin's Creed by Ubisoft and a few others. What really makes Quebec an interesting hub, and I'm throwing the line at you, Julien, eventually maybe you can touch base on that because you've worked specifically in some of these really fun companies, is that we really regroup many actors that make the ecosystem so strong and so deep. So there's obviously the studios, there's also the technologies and the services. So we have Autodesk here, we have Epics, we have Unity, we have many more that really work with the studios and work in collaboration. Obviously, we have specialized training that goes from technical training all the way up to PhD. And we have the really important associations and research centers that really allow the ecosystem to really work super well together. And something that's not mentioned on this slide, but we're really there and we really work as an ecosystem that works indies just as well as some of the bigger studios, international studios. With regards to what makes us really interesting, aside from the ecosystem itself, is that we have really strong and interesting companies in sectors that are connected to the gaming industry. So we have augmented reality, AI, web development. Montreal is home to about, Montreal and Quebec, actually, over 5,000 companies in the IT sectors with over 100,000 employees. And as I mentioned, Montreal specifically and the rest of Quebec is really a recognized hub with regards to AI. And also one thing that's really not negligible with regards to Quebec is that we are a highly bilingual and actually multilingual society. About almost 50% of the population masters French and English, And in Quebec City and Montreal, you'll find actually people that master 3 or more languages, and there's many more languages spoken. So that's really interesting with regards to localization. And maybe the last thing that I think is a really nice introduction to what Mélissa, Prophète, and Julien will be presenting is our competitive costs. We have some of the lowest operating costs in major cities and major regions in Canada and in the whole of North America. We have some very competitive salaries. And Montreal is considered the most affordable large city in North America. And Quebec City is one of the top 10 for business friendliness and human capital and lifestyle. So with all of that being said, I'll let Mélissa present what one of our key gems that makes Quebec really a nice place for you to come. Mélissa, over to you.
Yes, hi. So I will go over the multimedia tax credit, which is an interesting tool for your industry. The multimedia tax credit has been in place in Quebec for almost 25 years now. It's been one of Quebec's best tools in order to attract studios and also to foster the creation of studios in Quebec. The multimedia tax credit is a refundable tax credit, so it's an interesting incentive for companies in the industry. It gives you a tax credit of up to 37.5% on your labor expenditure. What kind of companies are eligible? So first of all, it's a company that has it's a corporation that has an establishment in Quebec. Also, it's a corporation that produces eligible titles. Eligible titles are either games or multimedia titles, for example, simulation. Your tax credit is based on your labor expenditure. So you will be able to claim either direct employees' salaries and or wages. Also, the invoice of subcontractors, whether they are at arm's length, which you can claim at 100%, or non-arm's length subcontractors that you can claim at 50% of their invoices. The work that is eligible, any work that is produced, that is made for you to produce a game. So from conception of the game until the commercialization of the game is our eligible production work. The only work that is not eligible, or the type of work that are not eligible, is anything administrative in nature or any sales work. The tax rates that I've covered before, they go from 30% to 37.5%. The 7.5% prime on the tax rate is given to a game that is available in French. So fully translated, you will be able to get up to 37.5% on the expenses that you claim. Montreal is fully bilingual, as mentioned by Veronica, so that makes it easy for you to be able to claim, to translate your games and be able to go get the largest tax credit. So it is a fairly easy tax credit to apply for, and the criteria, as I mentioned, are fairly easy. So you're a corporation in Quebec, you develop an eligible game, you have eligible employees, then you'll be able to apply for the tax credit. The way to apply for it is fill out a form. There's a form on Invest Quebec's website. Invest Quebec is mandated to manage the tax credit, so we'll analyze the eligibility of your claim and then issue a certificate to your company within 30 to 45 days of you applying for the claim, for the tax credit. And then you have to remit this certificate with your tax return to Revenue Quebec, which is our tax agency and is in charge is actually the body that is in charge to refund the tax credit to the company. So that goes over the tax credit. As I mentioned before, it's fairly straightforward, and I will let Julien continue either with the tax credit and other incentives that are interesting in Quebec.
Excellent. Thanks, Mélissa. And I'm really glad to be here with you today. MEGS is one of the most important events for us. And I must say that at PwC, we're kind of highly involved in the video game industry for many reasons, and not just because we are big consumers of the products, myself having 5 young video game testers at home, but we have many practitioners in our team that have been working directly in the video game production studios prior to joining accounting firms, including myself being an alumni of Autodesk and Atari in the good old days. It's been a while, quite a different infrastructure that we have now. But now we will explain quickly the other tax measures and incentives that are available to the industry in Quebec. Great programs are available to companies like yours in the video game production, but also to a whole web of supporting companies, like Veronica was mentioning, that are providing all types of services in order to support video game studios. These guys, different type of producers or providers, they have also access to important incentives, and that allowed the creation of an outstanding ecosystem of subcontractors and technology providers. And they can support many the production in many ways. For example, we have, as it was mentioned, Autodesk Media and Entertainment headquarters. The global headquarters are based in Montreal with large facilities. The 2 main game engine companies, Epic and Unreal, having large development center here in the province, huge test facilities at Keywords, Global Steps, and many others with more than 3,000 testers here in the province. Mocap studios, audio, localization, concept art, and large cinematic production contractors like Squeeze Studios, all here to support your development, largely because of tax credits. And now Quebec has certainly the most impressive supporting structure for production studios. So now what Quebec has to offer to you, many things. Just a quick note first on the multimedia tax credit. Mélissa, you've explained it very well. A very good measure, recurring, well established. The core component of our tax infrastructure is based on this. Just wanted to emphasize a few little points here that you should really understand. First, 37.5 is by itself a pretty convincing argument, but you should also note that the multimedia tax credit can cover production costs, expenditures, of course, the salaries of first level and second level graphics designers, testers, programmers, everyone, obviously, but also back-end infrastructure development, engine development, analytics, testing, and community management. Those can be quite important costs that are not covered by digital media tax credit in other jurisdictions. And you could bring, for example, a large community management facility here to support your game development or in addition, and that would be covered by the credit. So the other very cool feature of this provincial tax credit, as opposed to many other jurisdictions, it can be entirely combined with the federal R&D tax credit. Here, 1 + 1 = 2, not 1.6. It means, that none of the tax credits, federal and provincial, will reduce the basis of expenditure of the other. So you will get fully the 2 tax credits. What is the other tax credit? The SHRED, the Scientific and Research Experimental Research Development Tax Credit. Scientific Research and Experimental Development Tax Credit. The SHRED, the R&D tax credit in other jurisdictions. It's a 15% federal non-refundable tax credit plus a provincial 14% refundable tax credit for your investments in R&D type of projects. The provincial component might not be something you will claim except in some special circumstances, since you will probably already be covered at the provincial by the multimedia tax credit. Therefore, you will get a 15% on your salary costs at the federal, plus a predetermined percentage of the overhead cost So you will, for example, you will have your eligible salaries, the cost times 155% for the overhead times 15%. That's not bad. On which expenditures are basically all programming activities that will involve a technological challenge and technological advancement, some kind of knowledge that you get here, a technological uncertainty problems, i.e., the non-obvious part of your game programming. Could be quite large, of course, depending on the size of what you're doing or to which extent you want to push your graphics, the technology, the way you operate with the different aspects of the hardware or multiplayers. It could cover an important part of the programming. Artists and testers also can contribute, but in a lesser extent, to test the final solutions and providing assets for testing the technology, for example. And some contractors can be included at 80% of their costs to this tax credit. Therefore, on your salaries for a typical game development studio, you will get the 37.5 multimedia tax credit, provincial level, plus the 15% on the eligible part, the complex part of the programming and testing, plus the overhead. Also, there have been a few new tax incentives introduced very recently in Quebec's last budget of March 10th. This is the new stuff, quite interesting. It means that you still get the whole tax incentive package that we had until now, plus these few cool features. The first one is the C3I, the tax credit for investment innovation. It's a new thing. Let's say it's a revamped version of an old manufacturing tax credit. So what does it mean exactly? The tax credit encourages the productivity gain of business in different sectors of activity in all regions of Quebec. A tax credit for acquisition of eligible assets with a tax credit rate that will vary between 10 and 20 depending on the region, actually, meaning that 10% in the region of Montreal and Quebec City. So what it qualifies for the incentives, I think there was a slide with the list of the qualifying expenditures. It's small, I'm not sure it's the right one. Yeah, I think it's this one. So what qualifies as a manufacturing process of equipment? Not sure. Universal electronics, data processing equipment, and related operating software. Aha! Here we have, in fact, the computers, operating systems, large servers, and eligible management software packages. So don't know exactly how to translate here in French is a progiciel de gestion, but the software components or packages that manage the business processes, operations of your company. This is the most interesting part, I think. We'll get there shortly. And also property used in processing of ores, extracting from mineral resources. These are awesome pieces of equipment, but I don't think you will buy any of these. Therefore, regarding the what type of enterprise management software, what does it mean? A software package mainly used to manage one of the following things: company's business processes, integrating its operations, interactions of the company's business with the consumers, and business network using interconnected communication channels. So some of your operation management software, production management tool could qualify here. For example, it could include ERPs, CRM, HR, asset management systems, collaborating with partners and network suppliers. For example, source code and asset control systems, versioning systems, defect tracking systems, or any other type of collaboration system couldn't be quite interesting. And also, as mentioned earlier, this measure would also include the servers, SDKs, computers with operating systems. So this is also something that is fairly new in definition, but that's what could be available for you. and please be aware that there's a threshold of 5K on the hardware component and 12.5K on the software component. So it might be more suitable for studios of a certain size, but a true addition for the other programs. There was another one. Sorry, the next one was the IDC, the Innovative Deduction for the Commercialization of Innovations in Quebec. We could argue that this is the first real IP box that we have in Quebec and probably in Canada. This is awesome. Well, mind-blowing to me. I'm not sure you're as well as excited as I am, but truly, so you understand, we always had a topology of government incentives in Quebec and Canada where we were subsidizing investment made in job creation and productivity equipment, not detention of revenue, the detention of IP and revenue generation in Quebec. So this program aims exactly at this component, encouraging the detention of IP in the province. So what is it then? It's a deduction on the taxable income of the company that sells an asset based on IP developed in Quebec. The taxable income of the sales will benefit from an effective tax rate of 2%. The current basis is 11.5. That means it is the reduction of 9.5 to 2. Qualifying income will be taxed basically at a provincial plus federal tax rate of 17%, which is lower than the rest of Canada, of course, and the United States and other jurisdictions. Even with the U.S. Tax reform, the taxable rate is low for U.S. exports, but not for sales within the territory, the U.S. territory, while this would cover the whole sales process. So the goal here is not necessarily to have all your IP owned in Quebec. That doesn't necessarily make sense, but making, maybe having, for example, a few ones, the new ones, you could keep the actual IP detention and the commercialization here, and then so keep the actual the old IP that you have, everything that you did, in the exact same model as you had before, but only adding the new components here in Quebec. High flexibility over the model. It could be a gradual, step-by-step approach that you could take the benefit and maybe de-risking some part of your higher value operations in your company. So, well, of course, what works here, software applications, patented product, and video games. Video games will fit within this measure at that tax addition that will bring you to an effective tax rate of 2% at the provincial level. Very, very quickly, two other measures that I think worth mentioning. The tax holiday for foreign researcher and experts. This is a personal measure, meaning that it's a reduction of the personal provincial income for 5 years. It means that someone that comes from outside of Canada into the province of Quebec, where this is someone from your head office in France or Japan, or anywhere, or someone that comes from another company that you found working elsewhere that would come to Quebec, that person will benefit from a tax rebate of 100% at the provincial level for 2 years, and then afterward 3 years at 75%, 50%, and 25%. It's like a huge signing bonus for any employees that you will bring to Quebec, and at the same time, a huge retention bonus since it will be split over 5 years. So a very, very good instrument that we have here. Also, I should note the municipal grants, because we have many programs that can cover non-wages costs that can be very complementary to the tax credits, especially in the case of the establishment of a new studio, for example. Various programs, mainly cash grants that can go up to 500K depending on the program, the infrastructure cost. Good example one here would be the Quebec City's support for the development of the Saint Roch District program, where there's a special district where companies are located in mainly in a pretty cool area. So there are these are other examples that we have here. So Julie, I think it's now up to you to cover Quebec City.
Yes, thank you, Julien. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here and have the chance to talk about international recruitment and how we could assist you in, getting the best talents should you decide to open a studio in Quebec. So Quebec International, who we are and what we do. So we are the economic development agency for the Quebec region, so not the province, but really the region. We have vis-a-vis another city. My colleague Caroline from Montreal International will be talking to you afterwards about what they offer in Montreal. But Quebec International, as I was mentioning, our role is to support the economic development of the Quebec City region and to enhance its international status. So we are an integrated agency. We offer various services. Maybe some of you heard my colleague yesterday, Sabrina Boucher, from the foreign investment section that we have. Personally, I work in the talent attraction team. So we are a team of about 25 people, and our role is to promote the region to international workers and students. So we make sure to attract the best talent in the region, the best workers, the best students, and make sure that those people, they stay with us for a long period of time. Just to give you an idea of how integrated we are in the community, last year only, we've worked with about 1,000 different enterprises in the Quebec region. So we are a very dynamic and active economic development agency. So a word on international recruitment. So why it's a good option when you are looking to find the best talent for your organization. Well, we are very proud to say that Quebec, we were the first region to mobilize to support businesses when it comes to international recruitment. The economy in Quebec is very dynamic. It's always growing. So we've had one of the highest employment rates for many years now. So we had to find options to make sure that enterprises have the right people in their organizations. So we started in 2008 organizing a recruitment mission in various countries. So the good news about Quebec is that we have options for you. We have options to offer. The labor shortage is not unique here in Quebec, but unlike many regions, many countries, we have very good options. We have effective options for enterprises. Caroline from Montreal International will be addressing some of them afterwards. But you have to know that it's a very good incentive for both enterprises to open a studio, open a business in Quebec, because you would be able within only a couple of weeks to, in some cases, obviously, to get the right people in your organization. But as well, that helps us get the right people and attract workers because they know that coming to Quebec is an option for them and that they would be able to get here without a couple of weeks, couple of months, and not a couple of years. So that's an attraction factor. I would like to point out as well a percentage that you see on the slide. So the 90% is the retention rate. So after 1 year working in Quebec, we see that 90% of the workers that we have hired in other countries are still within the organization. So it shows that international recruitment is effective and it works for both enterprises and workers. So just a word on how we could help you with international recruitment. So of course, we organize international recruitment missions. So I'll be talking about it a bit later. We have co-recruitment initiatives now. We're very proud, actually, of that service that we offer, because now not only do we recruit workers or students, we facilitate partnership between colleges, between universities and enterprises, so they can partner and make sure to attract students while providing them with an opportunity to study in Quebec, but also a job offer so they can work part-time while they study. And in some cases as well, they even get a conditional job offer upon completion of their studies. So that makes us more and more attractive because students know that if they come here, they will likely be able to stay with a job offer afterwards. Just so you know, we offer as well training and co-development programs for HR managers. So every year we sit around 60 enterprises together so they can share experiences, best practices. They can collaborate as well. We offer them training, a bunch of services so they can be more and more effective when it comes to international recruitment. So just a word on, if you go on the next slide, so international recruitment initiatives. What's important to know is that we don't work alone in Quebec. We work in collaboration with partners in the private and the public sectors. We always work with the Department of Immigration, the Provincial Department of Immigration. We even have this brand, maybe some of you have already seen it. So when we go in other countries, when we organize those missions with the Department of Immigration, we have this brand, Journée Québec, which we have been using for many years now. So it has this visibility, it has this credibility as well. So it helps us really attract the best talent, the best workers, because they know that if they are interested in coming to Quebec, Journée Québec is one of the best mechanisms that they can use to find a job offer. So just to give you a sense of our initiative, where we have held initiative this year and where we are planning on having missions next year. So you can see that we've had initiatives in France, Brazil, Tunisia, Morocco, Mexico, Colombia, Belgium, Mauritius, Senegal, so and many more. So wherever you think the pool of talent for your studio or enterprises, chances are that we would be able to help you recruit those talents. As well, it's important to know that the government of Quebec offers financial incentive for business. I won't go into detail, but know that there are incentives for businesses that recruit abroad. So that's a plus. And also, last but not least, the government offers Francization program. We even offer a free Francization program for workers. They can even start working on their French while awaiting to come to Quebec. So once they have the certificate of Quebec, they can even take French lesson before coming to Quebec. So a couple of words on attraction factors for foreign workers. So why does it work and why are we able to attract and retain the best talents in the world? Well, Veronica mentioned at the beginning a word about the ecosystem that we have in the province of Quebec, that we have over 200 studios. Only in Quebec City, we have 87 of them. So that's one of the reasons why it's so attractive to workers, because they know should they decide to come to Quebec, there is options for them to grow professionally. So if after, at some point of their career, they are looking for other options, well, there is option available here. So that's really a cluster attracting talent. We also talked about international blockbusters. So the work that is being done in the province of Quebec is very innovative. We work on those great projects. We mentioned Assassin's Creed. I could be talking as well about The Messenger by Ubisoft, Borderlands 3 by Gearbox. So workers know that here they have those great projects and they can have that very dynamic professional life. So that really helps us as well attracting talent. And I have to say a word about our region, so the Quebec City region. So why are we able to attract the best people and make sure they stay with us? There are many reasons, but the main one is likely the outstanding quality of life that we have in Quebec City. We were named in 2018 the best place for Canadian millennials to settle down, so we're very proud of it. And the reason why is because in Quebec City, it's probably one of the best place to find the right balance between your professional life and personal life. People know that when they come to Quebec, they will be able to grow professionally, to have like this very dynamic professional life. But at the same time, we have a very low cost of living. It's easy to access property, and there are many options nearby for people who like, for instance, enjoying the outdoors. You just take your car, and within 20 minutes, you'll be able to go somewhere hiking, skiing, kayaking, whatever you decide to do. So that's very nice balance in a very safe city that it's very that attract people, that make sure that they come to Quebec and also they stay with us. So that's it for me. So I leave it to Caroline Boucher now to address immigration processes.
Hi, thank you, Julie. As Julie said, Montreal International is the economic development of the Montreal region, and we actually got 2 weeks ago the new title of the best economic development organization in the world. So we're very proud of that. Today, I'm not going to talk to you about what Montreal International does, because I'm going to be talking to you about immigration, which is what my team does. But so that you can understand, there's 3 drivers of wealth creations that we do. So we do help companies establish in Quebec, in Montreal, in the greater Montreal. We also help international organizations come to Montreal also. And our mandate, which is within the vice presidency that I work for, it's the international talent for vice presidency. And what we do is we help companies hire foreign workers, just like Quebec International does, with the recruitment missions. And we also have a mandate to attract and retain international students. So these are the same activities that the Quebec International does for the Quebec region. So that's what we do also in Montreal. But what I'm here to talk to you about is concerning immigration. So I'm the director of the international mobility teams, and we are regulated immigration consultants and lawyers. And what we do is when a company decides to move to Montreal, we help them with the work permits for the employees that they want to transfer, or for any other employees that they find abroad and they want to have them work in Montreal. I'm giving you this slide here so that you can understand that there's mainly 2 programs in immigration. We have the blue section, which is the international mobility program, and then you have the purple section, which is the temporary foreign worker unit program. And these 2 different programs has different process and forms and criteria to get a work permit. So I just listed a few of them, but there's many other ways to get a work permit. But that gives you an example. For example, if you want to transfer someone that has been already working for your company for at least 1 year and has a manager position, for example, and you want them to move to Montreal or anywhere else in Canada, actually, because the immigration is a Canadian situation. But if you want them to come, we could ask for intra-company transferee, and this usually takes about 2 weeks to process these applications. You have agreements, like, for example, this is Canada, US, Mexican agreement, but you also have Chile agreement. You have a lot of other agreements between Canada and different countries. Some of them works with list. For example, the Canada, US, Mexican agency agreement works with a list, and there's about 60 professions on it. So if you hire someone that will be working on one of these 60 professions, then you can get a work permit, again, very fast and within about 2 weeks. There's International Experience Canada program. These are closed for the rest of the years, but this is mainly to help you attract younger employees from 18 to 30 or 35, depending on the different countries. And you, again, get a work permit pretty fast, within less than 8 weeks, and you can have them work for your company. And all these type of work permits, the blue section is you do not have to try to recruit locally. You do not have to try to prove that you tried to find a Canadian or permanent resident to do that job before. So that makes the process much faster and simpler for you to get your employees here in Montreal. But even though you go with the purple section, this is when you have to ask for what is called a labor market impact assessment to Service Canada and a certificate of acceptance from the Quebec government. And those two levels of government will give and issue those documents that will then allow you to ask for work permit. So that's why there's a few time delays there. But then again, there's this global talent stream program that was created a few years ago, and mostly in IT, where you can get those documents within about 2 weeks. So I can't go into details about all these types of work permits. And what you need to understand is that in Quebec and in Canada, but in Quebec and in Montreal, there's many ways to get employees come and work for you. There's many different type of work permits. It is still possible to apply right now even though we are working and dealing with the COVID-19. But what you have to understand is the delays that we have right now are not applicable during the COVID-19. It is impossible to know exactly when an application will be treated, but it's something that you need to understand is that you can still apply for work permit and get those work permits to enter Canada, even though we are dealing with the pandemic right now. If you want to switch slides. Okay. I was just oops. Okay. We went too fast. There was I was just trying to explain that there's two, we'll go with this one. There's two orders of councils right now while we deal with pandemic about the COVID-19. And that means that all the immigration process have specific criteria right now. And those two orders of councils gives regulations from people that are currently and physically in the United States. This is not based on their nationalities. If you are someone currently in the States, even though you're not an American, this is the order of council that you work with, and it makes it much easier for someone that is currently in the U.S. to come and obtain a work permit, for example, at a point of entry, because this is something that they can still do. The other council concerns any person that is outside Canada, obviously, but not in the U.S. So from any other countries than within the U.S. And if you eventually go into that order, you're going to see that foreign students, foreign workers, they are still entitled to come to Montreal or to come to Canada, but they need to have their work permit or study permit application approved before coming in. So there's two different orders of councils. These are the ones that you have to work with at this moment. But if you get the big picture is that the Immigration Canada are still accepting and treating work permit files, and it is possible, even though we are into the COVID-19, to have your employees come and work for you here in Quebec.
Thank you very much, Caroline. Thank you all. So I think one of the takeaways is that we're a pretty integrated ecosystem in Quebec. So we work together to make sure that you have a soft landing if ever you wish to come and expand here. And everyone was being very modest from Mélissa, Prophète, and Julien with regards to the multimedia tax credit, which I think is really important to say that it's a very unique tax credit for Quebec, Canada, because it is fully refundable. So which is unique to Quebec with regards to that one specifically. And also, like Julien mentioned, the fun thing is that it can work together with other tax credits that you can add on without double dipping. Also, with what Julie and Caroline had to say, we definitely have a deep and vast talent pool in Quebec. However, if you want to bring foreign talent into your studio in Quebec, it's something that's relatively fluid, and it's something that is feasible, and it's something that both the Canadian government and Quebec government understand, and if they correspond to the criteria. Even though right now during COVID, it's a bit more less fluid as it would have been before, it's still something that you can work on, and it's still something that sets Quebec apart from other countries or other jurisdictions. I don't know if you all had anything else to add. Maybe we could move on to a question that we have from someone from the studio. Is that okay? Okay, so we have a question from Keith Warner, who I'll send a shout out to because he just opened a studio here in Montreal. It was announced on Tuesday, I believe. New World Interactive that just opened up a studio here in Montreal. So welcome to Montreal, Keith. His question was, if a foreigner is already in Canada on a work visa and would like to move to Montreal, are they eligible for the tax holiday? I don't know, Julien, if you would like to address that.
The tax holiday actually is normally eligible to a person that comes from outside of Canada into Quebec that is not already here. However, if they came for another company in the context where they were eligible for that company, even though they didn't apply for the tax holiday, they could be eligible to it and therefore to your company while they would move. So there's a mechanism to transfer the tax holiday from one company to the other. It might be a bit cumbersome, but it really works. And therefore you could have the eligibility for your employee. But the time counts when the person enters into Canada. So the 5-year period there will be a portion of it that will be already gone, but you still get something.
So if I understand correctly, Julien, to go deeper into the answer, for example, someone that has come in Canada let's say 2 years ago, and he didn't have the tax holiday, the 2 first years, if he was outside of Quebec, but another province in Canada, the 2 first years, he would lose those, but he might be eligible to have three remaining years. Is that correct?
Yes. In fact, you have until end of February to apply for the calendar year prior to this. So if you apply until end of February, you will still get from, let's say, if you apply now, January 1st, 2020. And if you arrive in the middle of, let's say, 2018, you will lose a year and a half, and you still have 3 years and a half going on, as long as that person was eligible when that person enters into Canada. So it's quite flexible. I would say that if you hire people that are foreigners, basically what we do with a large studio that has a lot of foreigners, we look at all the hires from the last 3 years, and we look who can be eligible or not. It's when you know the measure, it's quite easy to sort out, but not if you don't know it. So it's a case-by-case analysis that needs to be done.
Super. Thank you very much, Julien, for that answer. I hope it was helpful. Thank you, everyone, for taking part in this panel, this discussion. I hope it was helpful for you. I will be sending an email with the presentation of today, and actually the one that we had yesterday also, and the contacts of the speakers of today and yesterday, so you can have their info if you want to reach out to them. Thank you very much to our 4 speakers. It was great. I hope that you guys had a good time also. Once again, sorry for the technical difficulties at the beginning, but I think we sped up our speaking, and I think we were able to get everything done. Thank you once again, and I hope we convinced you that Quebec is a great place for you to come. Have a good day.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you.
Thank you.